This is Transports96 here with another video review. This time I'm going to be reviewing the Build-A-Figure of the Thor Ragnarok series, being Gladiator Hulk. This is obviously his movie appearance from Thor Ragnarok. So very excited to get this Build-A-Figure. I think that this was the logical choice for a Build-A-Figure. It wasn't a surprise seeing that he was the Build-A-Figure of this wave. However, it's kind of a surprise how fast this wave came out, considering the movie doesn't even come out until November. And here I am reviewing it in July. Very impressive at that. But let's go over the actual figure here. Very excited to get this figure. I was always wondering how much of it would be new, considering they've done movie Hulk figures in the past. I was concerned that they would be reusing parts from the older figures, and they are not. This is 100% a new mold, which is very exciting, I must say. Definitely, it was a need for an update, and I will be doing some comparisons with the older one here. But let's go over the actual figure now. Starting off with this face sculpt. I think that the sculpt itself is pretty solid. Alright, so as you can see, he does have his helmet on. If you just take the helmet off, though, the face I do like. I think that he actually looks slightly better with the helmet off, actually. But I think the face does look very cool. It is painted very nicely and very evenly. My only issue with it is there's not much going on there. He's just kind of frowning. He's got a bit of an expression, but I mean, for Hulk, this is basically a really mellow expression. Would have definitely liked to see something more aggressive. Even him just yelling would be great. I really love two head sculpts. I think that this entire wave is pretty well packed, though, as far as each figure is very big and comes with enough stuff on their own, and obviously this Build-A-Figure is rather large on his own too, so I'm not disappointed with how much you're getting in this wave. So I wouldn't have even mind if they had a seventh figure in this wave that came with the, like a variant head sculpt that was him yelling. I think that would have been completely fair, and I would have preferred that, but still really do like the head sculpt that we have. Love the painting on the side there, and then his hair is sculpted really nicely. I think that does look excellent and does look very cool. And if you're wondering if you can put on an old head sculpt, here's from the Age of Ultron Hulk. The ball joint doesn't fit. This one's bigger than this hole, so you can just kind of like lay it on there. And I mean, it looks all right. It's a bit small, and the skin tone is a slightly different green, so there is definitely differences there. But just if you were wondering, you can do that, and you can throw on the helmet as well. The helmet doesn't fit as well though on this head sculpt, but just I'm sure people would be wondering about that, so I did want to show that to you. The helmet itself does look very cool. Do really like the sculpting in it. It looks like it's actual metal, and it looks pretty worn and everything. And it is a softer plastic down here. It does get kind of like a harder plastic the higher up that you get, but it does look very cool. The mohawk section is wonderful. It's red and it gets like worn down towards the edges, which is very nice. And it just kind of falls over his head, so you can kind of like move it forward if you want. You can move it back. I mean, just about here though is the best that you can get. Would have been cool if it was hugging his face, so that it was on there like really tightly, but still I think that it does fit the head sculpt pretty nicely, and it does look good on it. And obviously it's such a unique feature on the Gladiator Hulk that I'm certainly glad this one comes with it. The body looks very cool. You do have like some sculpted, I guess this is just pegged on there, that unpegged, but you do have some like sculpted hair sections here, which I think is pretty nice. And then you do have the paint. The paint is lacking in certain places because it's supposed to be like over the straps, which can get annoying because you always want to keep those straps over that section so that the paint is always even, but sometimes it can be a little hard and get it knocked out of place when you're posing them, which is disappointing, but it is something very small. His arms are completely, like unique sculpts. This side has less armor on it. As you can see, the armor does look very cool on there, though. And I love the purple. I love the fact that Hulk has some purple detail on it. Purple is my favorite color, so I'm kind of partial to it anyway. But I think that it does look very cool on the Hulk here. This side has a lot more armor pieces and does have some straps. This strap is not attached on the actual arm. It's attached to the sides here, but it's not attached in this middle section, so you can kind of move it up a bit. And that helps with the posability, so you can kind of pose this under here and get a little bit more range on that hinge at the elbow. But really do love the armor on the arm. I think it looks cool. This middle section is soft rubber as well, so it can be, you know, kind of moved up. It can be moved down a bit, and then it does kind of move out of the way for poses. The legs are very nice. You've got detail all throughout there. It looks really nice, and they've even painted in between all of this detail green there, so you can like see green in between the lines, which is cool. The sandal sections, really nicely done. I mean, there's just a ton of detail on this figure, and it's all sculpted. None of it's just painted, which is great. And then he comes with weapons, too. I mean, not only does he have the massive helmet, but he has these massive weapons. The weapons are very nice. I do love how they're silver, and then at the end they get all rusted and stuff, like they've been smashed down on the dirty ground and things like that, which I think is very cool. My only issue with the weapons is that they're softer plastic. They're not, like, incredibly soft, but they are softer, so, you know, it can kind of warp over time. I can certainly... Man, this popped off again. You know, that's something that I haven't had an issue with, but it's happened twice now in this review, so that's kind of disappointing. Hopefully that doesn't become a bigger issue. It's similar to the Loki's cape from this wave, which is always popping off, which is incredibly annoying. But this weapon, this is much heavier here at the bottom, so I can see that just over time, as you can see, even just the gravity here is kind of warping it down, which is very annoying, so that can definitely look pretty bad later on, I think. Going over his articulation, it is quite good. He's got a ball-jointed head, which is on like, it's on a bit of a hinge. As you can see, yeah, it's on a hinge there, but the hinge doesn't do a ton, but you can look down a bit, and you can look up, actually a decent amount, and then basically side to side. Ball hinge shoulders, which have great range. Swivel at the bicep. Hinge elbows, they're just single hinge, unlike the last Hulks, which have been double. However, I think that even though these are only a single hinge, they look better. The double one has the arms get like very thin towards the joint, which doesn't look good. So this definitely does look good. On this side though, it does go less because of the straps. So you can kind of get them out of your way, but still, like, that's as good as you're going to get. You get a bit more of a range here, but either way, you don't get a ton. Swivel hinge at the wrist, and just in general, because of the weapons, particularly this one, which is so heavy, it can kind of, you know, be hard on these joints. So sometimes these joints can fail a bit, but it's a very slight. It doesn't happen very often. Ball jointed upper torso, which hinges forward very far. Can hinge back, you know, a fair amount. It mainly just goes forward, though. It does do a bit of side to side, and then it does swivel, of course. So you have a really nice range here on this torso. There's just so much junk happening here with all the straps and things that it does get in the way a bit, but for the most part, you got great range at the torso. He has ball jointed hips, which can go out this far. Can go out to the side that far, which is actually quite far. This is unhinged again. Okay, yeah, I certainly have an issue there. Hopefully that I can get that plugged in like stronger or something. I would hate to have to glue it, but you might have to do that. You have double hinge knees, which work great, and then hinge pivoting ankles, which work well again, so they're quite excellent. So overall, I think this is an excellent Build-A-Figure. I think that especially comparing it to most recent Build-A-Figures like Mantis, which is a ridiculous Build-A-Figure, although a lot of people defend it, which is so crazy. But anyway, comparing it to Build-A-Figures like that, and even I mean, Man-Thing is neat, but this one is just so much cooler. Because it's a massive Build-A-Figure. It has great sculpting and paint work, and it comes with lots of accessories, and they're big accessories too. This is a Build-A-Figure in my opinion. And also what's great about it as well is that it's not like, oh, they gave us this really cool big Build-A-Figure and then the wave kind of sucked. That's not the case. This wave is actually full of a lot of large characters like Ares and multiple Thors, which are very big, and Hela, which has a massive headpiece and a cape and a sword and a second head sculpt. All of these characters are rather large in their own rights, and they all come with really good and sometimes rather large accessories. So I'm very impressed with this wave as a whole. I think it is one of the best Marvel Legends waves that we've seen in quite a while. I'd say it's almost as good as the X-Men wave, which came out, the first one with like Deadpool and Wolverine, which was such a good X-Men wave. I actually enjoyed this wave almost just as much as that, and I am very impressed with Hasbro that they were able to do this Gladiator Hulk Build-A-Figure with only 6 people. That really never happens. If they ever do a big figure like this, usually they definitely do 7 or 8 pieces, and I wouldn't have been surprised and I wouldn't have been disappointed had they done 7 figures. So I'm just even that much more impressed that they were able to do this in 6 pieces, because I mean you could totally just distribute the pieces from this Hulk Build-A-Figure the way they did, and then just had a seventh person come with the 2 weapons and the helmet or something, and that would have been completely justified. Nobody would have batted an eye. So I'm very impressed with the way that they were able to give us this large and newly sculpted Hulk Build-A-Figure with only, having to buy 6 figures in the wave. Doing some comparisons here he is with the last Hulk. As you can see, height-wise, they're about the same height, but the new one is just bulkier in general. The last one had some skinnier proportions, particularly in the torso, in the legs, and then in the bicep area. It's definitely a lot thinner and skinnier. The articulation on this new one it's better in some areas, it's worse in some areas though. The elbows are better on this one, however, every other joint is better here. The ankles have a better range, the neck has a better range, the torso has a better range, so you do get a lot more articulation with this new one. And then obviously there's just so much more going on with this new one, it just looks so much cooler. And then doing a comparison with the character that he's going to be fighting, which is Thor, the Gladiator version to be specific. I think the two of them look very cool together, although I do think that Hulk should be a bit bigger than this. I think that Hulk should be taller than he is here. However, he's so massive that it still does look quite accurate, although I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate because I feel like Hulk should be a bit bigger than that. But overall, really do love this figure. I think it's pretty perfect for the most part. This strap that keeps popping out is very annoying, and that's definitely an issue. But other than that, this is a pretty great Build-A-Figure. I really do love it. It's a lot of fun, and it's such a cool character, and it's pretty great in general. So there you go. That's my video review of this Marvel Legends Thor Ragnarok series Gladiator Hulk Build-A-Figure. Let me know what you guys think of this Build-A-Figure, and thanks so much for watching.